All right, welcome back to Computer Vision. Today we're going to start heading up the computer vision food chain. We started with basic images as functions. We did some image processing, edge detection, manipulation. Then we did some low-level computation of vision, things like motion, stereo. We considered some geometry, such as things like essential and fundamental matrices that related how cameras were viewing a scene, panoramas, SIFT features, etc., even the tracking of objects. But all of that stuff was really semantic free. And what I mean by semantic free is there was no notion of what the object was, what you and I would refer to it. So when I look at the table, I see a cup of coffee that I paid way too much money for at some really expensive coffee shop, because that's what we all do in academia these days. But the idea is that I know that that thing is a cup of coffee. So for this section and a little bit of the discussions we'll be going forward, we're going to be talking about recognition. Recognition being the labeling of the object. And in particular, we typically think of it as labeling objects with labels that humans would understand. The other thing I want to say before we begin is we're only going to do a little bit of this. And that's because object recognition has become hugely driven by machine learning. Machine learning is a general field where you have lots of data that some of which is often labeled or supervised, described what's there, and you have training data and you use that to be able to do label or categorize or describe some new novel input. We're going to talk a little bit about that, but only a little, because machine learning is such a big field that if you want to understand more of the details, you almost need to take an entire machine learning course. So we'll be touching on the underlying machine learning methods, especially a couple of lessons from now. But mostly we'll try to talk a bit about how it's been applied to a computer vision scenario.